Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls. Guys, today I'm very excited to bring y'all a video I've been wanting to bring y'all about the Witch Doctor. This is going to be a build video, and guys, I'm just really excited about this. This build revolves around the legendary item, the Barber, which if you're not familiar, got nerfed in patch 2.4.3. And some people in the Asian server discovered a bug with the build, and it's now viable again. So in just a second, we're going to cover the skills and the items that you need to make this build viable. But guys, this build is very fun. I mean, to me, it is the most fun build to play in the whole entire game out of all the characters, and I'm a die-hard demon hunter. And I love this build. It is just so much fun, and it's a trash killer. You know, it's great for the group, which is why I decided to look into it. And it's so much fun. It's just so much fun to watch everything blow up. I think my problem with fire bats is I don't like fire bats because, you know, you go up in there and you're just casting your fire bats. I don't really like that. This build offers a lot of versatility, and it's so much fun to watch everything just blow up on screen. So we're going to cover the gear and everything that we need. So like I said earlier, this build revolves around the legendary weapon, the Barber. Okay. So the legendary affix says, instead of dealing direct damage, your spirit barrage now accumulates on the target. When you stop casting, it explodes, dealing 242. You want 250 on that. It rolls on a range of the accumulated damage to all enemies within 15 yards. So one thing I want to touch base on real quick is that it says within 15 yards. Now, most of you know that means, you know, it's an area. But unfortunately, this build is bugged and the area damage does not work. So on your Paragon, make sure that you have absolutely no points in area damage at all. As you can see, I got 50 points left over. That's fine. On all your gear, you want no area damage whatsoever, because it will mess with the build. Regardless of what other people are saying, I've done testing. The area damage affects the build. It does not work. So, like I say, it's bugged. But we're going to cover everything. So you want the Barber, and not only that, this build revolves around the legacy of Nightmare's Rings, so you need the Wailing Host and the Litany of the Undaunted. And these are very important because it says, while this is your only item set bonus, every ancient item you have equipped increases your damage dealt by 100% and reduces your damage taken by 4%. So we can have a total of 13 ancient items equipped, so you want all items to be ancient. Guys, it will take you a long time to gear this character. It took me a long time. But I had actually been saving up some of the pieces in hopes that the build would be viable again, and look at this, it's viable again. So I'm just so happy. It's so much fun. It's what I've been wanting and waiting for. So the next piece you want, this build is a cold build, so you'll want Frostburn gloves, because you get that extra increase to your cold skills. And also it has a chance to freeze enemies, which is very nice. It's a nice crowd control when you're casting your Spirit Barrage. You'll see stuff just get frozen in place, and it's nice because you'll be taking a lot of damage. And this build is actually kind of a glass cannon, so you know, you just have to be careful. But it's nice to have that extra crowd control. For your shoulders, to me, best in slot is pauldrons of the Skeleton King, but honestly, you know, you can put whatever you want here, but in my opinion, hands down, the best in slot is going to be pauldrons of the Skeleton King, which can be a little tricky to get, but got to do Act 1 bounties. They come in the cache after you do the bounty. You'll get it from Tyrael, and it may not come on your first drop. You may have to do like 6-7 bounties, get the caches, and eventually they'll drop, okay? The next piece, and this piece is absolutely important to this build, is the Aquila Cuirass. You have to have this item. So, of course, with everything, you want to try and get a secondary resistance whenever you can. And it took me a while to roll this one with a secondary resistance, and I got lucky it had physical. And it says, above primary resource, all damage taken is reduced by 50%. You want that to be at 90, but 91, 92, 93, those aren't bad. But anything above about 94, don't even use it, because you're going to have a hard time. So, but this piece is a must. The next piece, which is also a must, is going to be the Mask of Jerem. Okay, so most people, they're kind of familiar with the mask. It says pets deal % increased damage. Why do we use this item? We use this item because, again, it's bugged. So this thing right here, the phantasm, this little phantom right here, is counting as a pet for some reason, which is great. That works to our advantage. So we use the Mask of Jerem to get that extra buff. We don't know why it's acting as a pet. But we're hoping that Blizzard does not nerf it and just lets it keep going the way it is, because it's not severely overpowered. It's just a lot of fun to play, and it is strong. It's very strong, but it's not super overpowered like it was in the PTR on patch 2.4.3. So the next piece, which again, best in slot here, almost hands down need. Now, you don't actually have to have this. The next best in slot would be an Eye of Etlich for that extra increased ranged defense, because on the Eye of Etlich, I believe it's usually like minus 33% damage from ranged attacks, and most of your damage on this build is going to come from those spearmen throwing the spears at you, or the blood stars from the witches. But best in slot here, you want a Hellfire, because you get that 5th passive. On my passive here, I have the Confidence Ritual passive, but we'll cover the skills here in a minute. As long as you have one of the skills that we cover, you'll be good to go. And actually, there's room to play with the skills. This is just how I set it up. I found that it's a little bit more tanky this way. But definitely we'll cover that here in a second. There's all kinds of stuff you can switch it out with, and that's what I like about the Legacy of Nightmares builds. They're very versatile and a lot of options. They're so much fun to play. The next, and this is hands down, this is not negotiable at all whatsoever, is Lakumba's Ornament. You need that damage reduction from Soul Harvest. If you do not have Lakumba's or the Sacred Harvester in the cube, you will not survive, period. You will not survive, I promise you. I've done testing. You will not survive. So I was very lucky. I got extra damage from ranged attacks on these. I didn't get the perfect critical hit chance, but sometimes you go at that extra defense and loss of damage, in my opinion. The next one, again, this is pretty much hands down best in slot, have to use. It's going to be the Gazing Demise. Why do we use the Gazing Demise? It says our Spirit Barrage gains the effect of the Phantasm rune. Each active Phantasm increases the damage of Spirit Barrage by I believe it's 40 to 50%. I was lucky to get 49. 50 would be the best, of course. And Phantasm, again, is this little guy right here, this little ghost. He's our Phantasm, so he's actually going to be the thing that's dealing the brunt of the damage here. So and we'll cover the rings. Like I said earlier, we need the Legacy of Nightmares set, so we need the Wailing Host and the Litany of the Undaunted. On your rings, hands down, you want attack speed, critical hit chance. Now on mine, I had a very, very hard time rolling these rings. Very, very hard time. You really don't want the intelligence. You want attack speed, critical hit chance, and critical hit damage, and then add Caldesian's Despair for your intelligence. But I was having too much trouble, and guys, I was just so anxious to give the build a shot and run with the guys, run with the group. So I just, I kind of put it off, but eventually I will need to fix that, because you do need the critical hit damage there, and I don't have it. But you have to have it. Attack speed on the items. This, on every piece of gear you can get, you want attack speed, and we'll cover all that here in just a second as well. Same here on our boots. Now you have a couple of options here. The boots of disregard, they're pretty good. Ice climbers, they're pretty good, but me personally, I like illusory boots because you can move unhindered through enemies. So I feel like that's the best in the slot. But believe me, there's Ice Climbers, Boots of Disregard. They're both very, very good. So feel free to just, swap that out and see what you like best. The next in slot here on the pants, now this one is a must as well as the Swampland Raiders. Now we don't use the Swampland Raiders for the sacrifice damage. We use the Swampland Raiders for that elemental damage right there, okay? So they're the only pants that run with elemental damage. So we got the cold skill. Like I said, this is a cold build. So, and I was very lucky to get the pants that I did. The next in slot, now this is negotiable, but for that extra damage, you definitely want the Witching Hour, mainly because it rolls with attack speed as well as critical hit damage. And if you're like me and you weren't very lucky with the rings, that extra critical hit damage definitely comes in handy. Okay, so let's go over all the specs you want on every piece. So on your ceremonial knife, you want 10% damage, the most attack speed you can get, which I believe is 7. I got 6 on mine, and then you'll want to add a socket with the Ramadani's gift, however you say that. So if you haven't found one of those guys, they just drop from the Rift Guardian. Well, actually, they can drop anywhere, but most of the time I get them off of the Rift Guardian and Greater Rifts, so they're not that rare. They just take a little time to find, and you'll find one eventually. Just keep grinding for it, guys. On your gloves, hands down, you want attack speed, critical hit chance, and you really want critical hit damage instead of vitality. But if you're like me and you have problems with survivability, you can go with the vitality here like I did, but that's totally up to you. Depends on how glass cannon you want the build to be. On your shoulders, we don't necessarily need cooldown, so I just I ran with the armor, the life per second, vitality, intel, and then I just rolled it had some sort of other secondary, and I put on lightning resist right there. So that's, could have done better, but they're not bad. The Aquila, you definitely want armor, intelligence, and vitality. You want to try and get spirit barrage damage here, but me personally, I go with the vitality for that extra toughness. But if you want to go full on glass cannon, get that spirit barrage damage right there. We're using red gems in the pants and in the chest. Why? Because we get that extra armor from that. But if you want to push, glass cannon, put in those topazes. Another thing, you can put in diamonds, but honestly, I find that our resistances are pretty high with this build. It comes down to we don't have enough armor to survive, so that's why I put the rubies in there. The next stats you want on your mask, you're going to want critical hit chance, intelligence. Now I got armor here, but actually what would be good would be vitality, and then put the purple gem in there for the extra life percent. But I got armor here, which isn't bad. That's kind of up to you. On your Hellfire, you want, and again, I got intelligence. You actually want cold damage here. You want cold damage, critical hit chance, and critical hit damage. But it can be kind of hard to roll with that, and it can take you a long time. So I was very anxious to get this build and make this video for you guys, because I don't know how long it's going to be before Blizzard nerfs it, or if they nerf it. I hope they don't, because it's not severely overpowered, but it is definitely the #1 build for the Witch Doctor right now. For your Lakumbas, you want the elemental damage, cold, vitality, intelligence, and critical hit chance. If you can, get that ranged damage reduction like I did. On your Gazing Demise, now this one's a little bit tougher. You definitely want Spirit Barrage damage here, but as you can see, I wasn't lucky enough to get one with the Spirit Barrage damage because they don't roll with critical hit chance. And what happened was I kept on getting them where it would be like increase the damage of your Spirit Barrage by 40 or 41%. So I had to roll with what I had because it had the higher percent damage right there, the 49. So I had to roll with this one. On your rings, you want, like we covered earlier, attack speed, critical hit chance, and critical hit damage. You do not want intelligence here. If you can avoid it, you can just add Chaldean's Despair at a later time, but totally up to you on that, actually. So on your boots, you want intelligence. You really want vitality in armor instead of the resist, and spirit barrage damage. You have to have spirit barrage damage somewhere on your gear. You need at least, hopefully, 2 pieces. Like I say, if I'd have had at least the Gazing Demise, that'd have been great, but I was unfortunate with that. You want your pants, you want the elemental damage, intelligence, vitality, and armor. These pants were actually very good, so I was lucky there. On your belt, you want intelligence, vitality, attack speed, and critical hit damage. Okay, so that covers all the specs on the gear that we want. Now let's cover the skills. Again, we're using the Hellfire Amulet, so we have that 5th passive, so we'll cover the passives first. So you want Creeping Death. This is a must. This is non-negotiable. Another one that's non-negotiable is Rush of Essence. You must have these 2, period, or the build will not work. It will not work if you don't have those 2. You want Swampland Attunement. That's what I put here. Now this one is negotiable, as well as the Spirit Vessel. You could either put Swampland Attunement. A lot of people are running with Graven Justice so that they can cast more NATOs, but I was having a very hard time with survivability unless I was in a group. So solo, I ran this, but you know, it's totally up to you. Totally up to you. And then I'm using Spirit Vessel. And then, of course, Confidence Ritual. That one is a must as well, and I have that on my Hellfire Amulet. But Spirit Vessel, you know, it's your cheat life or cheat death passive. So to me, I just feel like this one's great to have, you know, because you don't want to get one-shotted when you're going through some arcane or something like that. So I find this very useful. But I also find this one useful as well because this is a close range build, so you can proc your trapped. So, you know, this one definitely comes in handy. But again, just play around with it and figure out what you think is best. Right here we have Spirit Walk. Severance. I like Severance best. Why? Because we get the additional movement speed. But, you know, another good one here is going to be Healing Journey or even Jaunt. That one's kind of up to you as well. Play around and see which one you like the best. Me personally, I like Healing Journey or Severance. I like the extra movement speed though, especially when I'm running in the group. I can catch back up to the group and start doing my job, which my job is to clear out the trash. So you know, it's important. It's important to have that extra movement speed. The Witch Doctor is a slow class. So I use Severance. The next one is Spirit Barrage, Phlebotomize. You need this rune. Why you need that extra life each time. We're also going to gain the Phantasm rune from our Gazing Demise mojo. So, you know, this to me is, you want this one just for that life, and then this of course, you know, they just go hand in hand. It works well, and it looks really cool too, you know, so I like the look of it. The next is going to be Soul Harvest Languish. This one is a must. You need that armor buff, and since we're using the Sacred Harvester in the cube, we're going to get 10 stacks, so this is just a absolute hands down must skill. Sorry about that. The next one is going to be Piranado. Why Piranado? We need that crowd control. So, you know, to me, that's the one that I use, the Piranado, so that we can group the enemies together. You're going to group them together with Piranado. You're going to cast your Haunts. You're going to cast your Locust Swarm, and you're going to blow them up. Just like that. The next is going to be Haunt Draining Spirit. Why? We need that mana return. Draining Spirit returns 13 mana per second. So, guys, it's very important. I see a lot of people playing the Fire Bats and also playing this build, and they have a hard time, you know, trying to figure out what's going on. You have to cast the crap out of these Haunts, y'all. Make sure that a whole bunch of enemies are haunted. And that'll also run hand in hand with our passive Rush of Essence. So, the next one, this one, The rune is kind of negotiable. I'm using Locust, Swarm, Pestilence. I like Pestilence the most because if you're familiar with this, it spreads to everything on the screen. You know, so to me this is a must. But you know, a lot of people run it with Cloud of Insects for that reduced damage. For every enemy that you hit with this, they're going to deal 25% reduced damage. So that helps with the toughness. But the problem with this, in my opinion, is you have to cast like 3 or 4 swarms on a big group because it doesn't spread very well, and that'll drain the crap out of your mana, because if you see, it costs 300 mana. So I like Pestilence because we can just cast it one time on a huge group of enemies and it'll just spread all over the screen. So to me, that's the best in slot right there, but it's totally up to you. Paragon, you definitely want, you know, 25% movement speed. You want your mana. I don't have any mana, which is a big no-no on my part, but I'll go back and fix that later. Intelligence, vitality, you know, just the basic stuff. On these, you want attack speed, cooldown, critical hit chance, critical hit damage. If I had to do it in a certain order, I would do attack speed first. That is a must. Then critical hit chance, then critical hit damage, and lastly cooldown reduction. Again, here on our utility, no area damage whatsoever, guys. Do not put area damage points at all. It does not work with the build. It will mess it up. It's bugged. You know, I can't explain why, but just trust me, it does not work. If I had to go in order here, I would go resource cost reduction, and then life per hit, and then of course gold find, which is actually pretty useless. Then on here we want, in my opinion, what you want first, you want that armor first, then resist all, then life regen, and then life percent. Okay? So, and on a follower here, I'm just gotta, I don't even have him set up. That's okay. So I'm gonna show you guys a quick rift. I'm just gonna do a 75. Now I want to warn you guys ahead of time that this sucks at killing the Rift Guardian. It's very horrible at killing the Rift Guardian, but that's okay. We're gonna have a lot of fun. You guys are gonna see this. It's gonna be awesome. One last thing that I want to cover real quick is the gems. Bane of the Trapped, non-negotiable. Gotta have Bane of the Trapped. Enforcer, non-negotiable. Got to have an Enforcer, because again, for some reason this Phantom is being treated as a pet. You must have the Enforcer. And lastly, I'm running Pain Enhancer just for that increased attack speed, but best in slot here, especially if you're running solo, is going to be Stricken. But if you're running in a group, best in slot is going to be Pain Enhancer, hands down. So let's check it out, guys.
Embrace your power, and you will rip these brutes.
Look at this, already getting hit by the ranged attacks, but that's okay. We just want to try and cast our haunts, get a big group of enemies. I'm gonna go up in here, get a whole bunch of haunts, and then just blow them up. What's nice about this is it can be used as a ranged build, but it works best close up. Be careful of those guys that shoot those darts like that. They will kill you in a heartbeat.
I must wait longer.
Had to leave those guys because we need density. I'll go back and get those orbs. Like most Witch Doctor builds, they work best with when you have density. So and I'm getting absolutely wrecked with all these ranged attacks, but that's okay. As you can see, stuff blows up pretty quickly. bad place right here because I have absolutely no density, and these guys are just going to take a minute to get down, but that's okay. Guys, a guy on the Asian servers on PC, he cleared a 103, I believe, with this. The other night was what we had figured out. So it is definitely solo viable. It can clear very high. You need augments, though, of course. Oh, great. I hate these monsters right here. Really need a better rift. Better monster types, but that's okay. See, our cheap death just saved our life there. Oh, goodness. Okay, here's the evidence. I mean, it's so much fun to watch everything just blow up. Okay, this is going to be a little bit better. Literally just gonna skip all those. They are not good monster types. Guys, like with most Witch Doctor builds, this build really shines in very high density. So, fortunately, I wasn't blessed with a very good rift to showcase this with, but that's okay. Thank you everyone for watching. Appreciate it. I hope you guys are enjoying the video. Those illusory boots are so great because I can literally just move right through them. So they come in handy. When you see your mana getting low, you know that it's because you don't have enough haunts casted on the enemies. Just an FYI for everybody out there. Alright, hopefully we get an open level. Well, this sometimes isn't too bad. Look at this, guys. Everything just melts. It's so beautiful. I love it. So much fun. Oh, this is gonna be a lot of fun right here. blow everything up. It's all gone. So because we cast a lot of haunts on everything, and we have our Brush of Essence passive, we're able to keep our mana and our kilo damage buff up. So here, watch everything's gonna melt right here. Gotta get out of there. It's just so awesome, y'all. So awesome. Guys, this is just a 75. I'm just showcasing this. I just wanted y'all to see the play style. I have not pushed this build to its limits yet. But that will be coming in the future. I will push this build. I'm gonna get full augments, and I'm going to see exactly how high I can push it. I'm assuming I know I can push at least 100 with it easily once I get it all completely geared out right. And in a group, we're going to push so high, so high. We were playing around with it last night and we cleared a 95, just messing around. It was just 3 of us. We were just messing around, having some fun. Oh, this is going to be absolutely beautiful. Everything's going to melt.
The rift has arrived.
It's crazy. It's crazy, y'all. It's so crazy, y'all. Now this is absolutely horrible and single target damage. See, the frost burns are coming big handy here. Watch out, it's like he can't move. He gets frozen every now and then. I also want you guys to keep in mind I do not have Stricken on, so that's also a factor in this as well. You want a boss with ads if you really want this build to shine. I mean, he's getting wrecked right now just as it is, and here he comes, he's about to spawn some ads. This is perfect. Oh wait, no. Horrible time to die. We almost had him. That's okay though. You gotta back out of there a little bit because you want your a killer buff.
I cannot carry more.
So that's it, guys. That's the build. I don't know if you guys saw that or not, man. It is just so awesome to watch. Everything just blow up on screen. It's so cool, in my opinion. Let's see. Let me level these gems up real quick. It is definitely more fun, in my opinion, than the Firebats build, and we've seen people push on the Asian servers higher with this build than the Firebats build. So, guys, if you haven't seen the full video, come check me out on YouTube, D3 Content. This is going live to YouTube right now as we speak, so check out the build video if you didn't get to see the gear and the specs and the passives and everything, and check that out. Guys, I appreciate everybody watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you for your support. You guys have a great day.